Speed has always meant more than numbers on a dial. It is a statement about ambition, pride, and the willingness to chase perfection. Every generation rediscovers what speed means, reshaping it through design, engineering, and courage. Some machines are born from nostalgia but refuse to stay in the past. They push forward, balancing heritage with the relentless march of progress. They remind us that true performance is not only measured in seconds or horsepower, but in the soul behind every turn of the throttle. What happens when an icon from another era is rebuilt not as a replica, but as a modern challenge to everything we think we know about British engineering? That question drives this story. It is about craftsmanship, controversy, and the pursuit of speed itself. If you enjoy deep dives into the machines that define eras, make sure to like this video, subscribe for more stories like this, and comment on which legendary ride we should cover next. The Norton Commando 961 Cafe Racer began as a resurrection and quickly became a test of how far tradition could bend before breaking. When the first prototypes appeared, enthusiasts expected a respectful homage to the original 1960s Commando, a motorcycle celebrated for its raw charm and unpredictable character. Instead, they found a machine that looked familiar but carried a different kind of heartbeat. Under its sculpted tank and polished frame, the 961 represented a complete rethinking of what a British classic could be in a modern world. The air-cooled 961 cubic centimeters parallel twin engine was both a tribute and a gamble. Norton engineers wanted the unmistakable feel of the old bikes, the vibration, the throttle pulse, the sense of mechanical honesty that newer engines had lost. Yet they also needed reliability, emissions compliance, and refinement. The result was an engine that balanced heritage with precision. Every part of the Norton Commando 961 Cafe Racer reflected that tension. Its handcrafted aluminum tank shimmered with old-world craftsmanship. Its carbon fiber accents and Olean suspension spoke of cutting-edge performance. Even the riding position, slightly aggressive but not punishing, blended nostalgia with modern ergonomics. Each curve of the bodywork felt deliberate. Each weld told the story of human hands shaping metal, not an automated line stamping panels. But this artistry came at a price, both literal and philosophical. Norton was no longer the scrappy British manufacturer that built bikes for cafe racers sprinting between roadside pubs. It was now a boutique brand asking customers to pay superbike money for a hand-built heirloom. The company claimed this was not about mass production. It was about perfection. And for a while, the world seemed willing to believe. Early reviewers praised the handling. The Commando 961 Cafe Racer felt alive, eager, and precise. The frame geometry encouraged riders to lean deep, trusting the suspension to hold its line through corners. The braking system, upgraded with modern components, provided confidence without losing that mechanical feedback enthusiasts cherished. It was, in many ways, a sensory experience designed for those who valued feel over outright numbers. However, the Norton Commando 961 Cafe Racer also carried expectations heavier than its 414-pound frame. Norton's revival had been marketed as a return to glory, a chance for Britain to reclaim its place among motorcycle legends. Each bike that rolled off the line had to justify not only its cost but also its symbolism. Every imperfection became a headline, every production delay a question mark on whether Norton could truly compete. The company's CEO at the time positioned the 961 as the cornerstone of a new era, one that would expand into electric platforms and racing divisions. Yet the truth was simpler. The Commando 961 Cafe Racer was meant to prove Norton could still build a world-class machine. To do so, it leaned on craftsmanship as both a selling point and a shield. Buyers were told to expect individuality. Slight differences from one bike to the next were marks of authenticity, not inconsistency. The marketing framed this as part of the charm. Each Norton was, in their words, a conversation between engineer and rider. And it worked, for a while. The Norton Commando 961 Cafe Racer became a status symbol among collectors who valued legacy as much as performance. But beneath the admiration were murmurs of frustration. Long wait times, limited availability, and the challenge of servicing such a specialized machine. Owners were torn between pride and pragmatism. Some said the bike demanded more attention than any modern rival. Others claimed that was part of its appeal. This tension defined Norton's rebirth. The 961 was not meant to win performance comparisons. It was meant to evoke emotion, to make riders feel connected to something handcrafted, human, and unapologetically British. Its twin exhausts sang with a raw mechanical note that modern emission systems often smothered. Its polished tank reflected both craftsmanship and vulnerability, a reminder that beauty in engineering often carries imperfections. Yet for all its passion, the Norton Commando 961 Cafe Racer existed in a world dominated by technology-driven perfection. The very qualities that made it special, its vibration, its analog nature, its hand-built quirks, were seen by some as flaws. Riders used to computer-assisted precision found the 961 unpredictable, demanding, and occasionally stubborn. But that was precisely the point. The Norton Commando 961 Cafe Racer was a statement against homogenization. It asked riders to participate, to feel every shift, every throttle twitch, every pulse of the engine through the bars. It was not a motorcycle for convenience. It was an experience for commitment. In that way, it captured something rare in modern engineering: imperfection as character. Over time, the 961 became both a cult object and a dividing line. Enthusiasts admired its authenticity. Critics questioned its practicality. But regardless of opinion, it forced the motorcycle world to confront an uncomfortable question. Can heritage survive modernization without losing its soul? The Norton Commando 961 Cafe Racer answered that question not with statistics but with sensation. Every mile on it was a conversation between past and present, between design ideals and real-world execution. It was a motorcycle that asked riders to slow down just enough to appreciate the details, then reminded them why they fell in love with speed in the first place. The first act of its story was not about numbers, but about identity. Norton had reintroduced itself to the world with a machine that demanded respect through craftsmanship and confidence. Whether that confidence would hold under pressure would become the true measure of what the 961 represented. Its next challenge would not be design or performance, but proving that passion could withstand scrutiny in the unforgiving world of modern motorcycling. The Norton Commando 961 Cafe Racer entered its next phase with the weight of expectation pressing against every turn of its crankshaft. What began as a handcrafted revival had now become the symbol of Norton's credibility. The company's reputation rested squarely on whether the 961 could live up to its promise under real-world conditions. The motorcycle's appeal was deeply emotional, but emotion alone could not silence skeptics who demanded proof of durability, refinement, and performance consistency. The engineers behind the Norton Commando 961 Cafe Racer faced a paradox. The very hand-built approach that made the bike special also made it difficult to scale production without sacrificing quality. Each component, from the billet-machined yokes to the sculpted exhaust headers, required time, precision, and skilled hands. But in a competitive market where efficiency often equals survival, such artisanal devotion became both a badge of honor and a financial strain. To make the 961 not just admired but sustainable, Norton had to reimagine its production philosophy while keeping the soul intact. The company began modernizing its assembly process, investing in small-scale automation for parts alignment and calibration. Yet even with these improvements, each Norton Commando 961 Cafe Racer still required meticulous inspection before leaving the factory. This created a dilemma. Was the bike meant to be a performance machine or a collector's artifact? Riders who wanted the full experience found themselves torn between using it as intended and preserving it as an heirloom. In reviews and owner forums, a pattern emerged. When ridden hard, the 961 rewarded confidence. Its Öhlins suspension absorbed uneven roads with precision, its Brembo brakes offered powerful yet controllable stopping force, and its geometry inspired trust through corners. But its charm came with demands. The engine's traditional design produced more heat and vibration than modern liquid-cooled rivals. Its maintenance intervals were shorter. Its personality required patience. The Norton Commando 961 Cafe Racer did not pamper its rider. It engaged them. That engagement became the heart of Norton's identity. Each test ride, each press event, each delivery to a new owner was framed around connection. The company positioned the 961 as an antidote to digital detachment. A motorcycle that asked riders to rediscover analog control. Yet behind the romantic marketing, cracks began to show. Delays in parts sourcing and manufacturing inconsistencies hinted at operational strain. Norton's leadership faced mounting pressure to expand output and prove financial stability. The Commando 961 Cafe Racer had succeeded in attracting attention, but it needed to deliver long-term trust. At the same time, a new generation of riders was growing up on machines designed by algorithms, governed by sensors, and refined through data. To them, the 961 seemed almost rebellious in its simplicity. Its gauges were analog, its traction control was human judgment, its electronics minimal. What modern competitors achieved through coding, the Norton Commando 961 Cafe Racer achieved through geometry, balance, and rider feedback. In many ways, it became a symbol for those who believed that true riding required effort. That philosophy resonated deeply, yet it also limited the bike's audience. The 961 was never going to be a mass-market product. It was an artisanal motorcycle for a discerning few. Norton leaned into that exclusivity, marketing each machine as a piece of British engineering heritage refined for modern roads. But exclusivity carries risk. It isolates a brand from broader innovation cycles and places enormous pressure on each model to justify its existence. When the Norton Commando 961 Cafe Racer was praised, it was praised lavishly. When it faltered, criticism cut deeply. Enthusiasts debated whether the company was investing too much in nostalgia instead of future development. Could a hand-built cafe racer sustain a company in an age of global production and technological sophistication? For Norton, the answer had to be yes, because the 961 represented more than a motorcycle. It was the cornerstone of a belief system. Within the engineering team, every small adjustment to the Commando 961 Cafe Racer's performance was treated as a matter of pride. Engine tolerances were tightened, vibration damping refined, throttle mapping adjusted for smoother delivery. Test riders spoke of subtle improvements that transformed the feel of the bike without altering its identity. These refinements were not radical but iterative, reflecting Norton's insistence that evolution could be as powerful as revolution. The 961 Second Act was about proving craftsmanship could coexist with consistency. And when it worked beautifully. Owners described a sense of connection rare in any modern machine. The handling felt organic, almost telepathic. The sound of the twin engine became a soundtrack to long weekend rides across winding countryside roads. The Norton Commando 961 Cafe Racer was not the fastest on paper, but it made speed feel personal, earned rather than given. This intimacy became its calling card. Even as other manufacturers chased peak performance through electronics and aerodynamics, Norton doubled down on experience. The 961 asked riders to return to a time when performance was measured in feedback and finesse, not digital data. That made it timeless in one sense and vulnerable in another. The market demanded innovation, yet the Norton Commando 961 Cafe Racer existed to remind people that some things should not change. That defiance became part of its allure. But financial reality has no respect for sentiment. The cost of maintaining such precision craftsmanship strained Norton's balance sheet, and critics began questioning whether passion had overtaken practicality. Still, for those who rode it, the answer was simple. The 961 justified itself every time the key turned. The vibration at idle, the mechanical pulse at mid-range, the surge of torque at the top. All of it formed a sensory link to a legacy that refused to fade. The Norton Commando 961 Cafe Racer may not have matched the numbers of mass-produced rivals, but it surpassed them in spirit. It was a living contradiction. Old yet new, analog yet refined, deliberate yet visceral. That duality defined its legend and solidified Norton's place as a brand unafraid to resist conformity. Whether that resistance would lead to survival or struggle was uncertain, but it ensured the 961 would never be forgotten. The machine had already proven that British engineering could still create something with global resonance, even if it came at a high cost. For Norton, the Commando 961 Cafe Racer became both an achievement and a warning. A masterpiece that revealed how narrow the line is between devotion and downfall. By the time the Norton Commando 961 Cafe Racer reached its final evolution, the motorcycle world had shifted once again. Electric powertrains were gaining ground. Adaptive suspension and ride-by-wire systems had become standard in premium segments. Against this backdrop, the 961 looked almost defiant, a gleaming symbol of analog purity in a digital age. Yet its continued existence was proof of something enduring. The belief that craftsmanship still matters, and that emotion cannot be replaced by convenience. Norton's engineers knew the challenge was not to modernize the 961 into something it was never meant to be, but to refine it into its ultimate form. The last editions of the Norton Commando 961 Cafe Racer reflected years of small, obsessive improvements. Better machining tolerances, upgraded wiring, fine-tuned fueling, and subtle adjustments to the suspension setup. Each change was invisible to the casual observer, but noticeable to anyone who lived with the bike. The result was a machine that finally matched its promise. Smooth when it needed to be, thrilling when pushed, and unmistakably authentic at any pace. It was now more than a nostalgic statement piece. It was a capable modern motorcycle wrapped in the elegance of the past. Those who rode the Norton Commando 961 Cafe Racer in its later form spoke of balance. The way it carved corners with stability, the linear surge of torque that arrived without drama, the crisp engagement of its 6-speed gearbox. It was not a machine built to dominate spec sheets. It was built to make riders feel connected. That connection was the cornerstone of Norton's philosophy. And it turned out to be the key to the 961's redemption. When the company faced turbulent times, it was the loyalty of its riders and collectors that kept the brand alive. The Commando 961 Cafe Racer had become a rallying symbol. A reminder that British motorcycling still had a voice in a global industry dominated by efficiency and scale. For the engineers who poured themselves into the project, that loyalty was validation. They had proven that a motorcycle could be both classic and contemporary without losing its integrity. The Norton Commando 961 Cafe Racer became a lesson in perseverance, a living example of how design heritage could evolve rather than vanish. And yet, its story was never about nostalgia alone. The 961 represented a question that every manufacturer must eventually face. How do you honor a legacy without being trapped by it? Norton's answer was imperfect but sincere. The Commando 961 Cafe Racer embraced the contradictions inherent in progress. It refused to hide its mechanical texture behind software or insulation. It reminded riders that imperfection can be beautiful when it comes from craftsmanship instead of compromise. Even as electric superbikes and AI-assisted rides took the spotlight, there remained a quiet reverence for the Norton Commando 961 Cafe Racer's mechanical honesty. It had become an artifact of resistance, a machine that asked riders to stay present, to feel each vibration, to trust their senses more than sensors. The legacy of the 961 is not defined by lap times or market share. It is defined by the persistence of passion. Every nut and bolt on the bike carried the fingerprint of its maker. Every mile logged by an owner was an act of participation in something larger than transportation. The Norton Commando 961 Cafe Racer ultimately proved that progress does not always mean abandoning the past. Sometimes it means preserving the things that give machines their soul. In the years since, it has earned its place among the most significant revivals in motorcycle history. Collectors treat it as both art and engineering. Riders speak of it with reverence reserved for the few motorcycles that truly move them beyond performance statistics. Its story closes not with finality, but with reflection. The Norton Commando 961 Cafe Racer stands as a testament to what can happen when a company dares to merge memory with motion, history with innovation. It is a reminder that speed, in its purest form, is not about outrunning the past. It is about carrying it forward, one twist of the throttle at a time. The Norton Commando 961 Cafe Racer remains more than a motorcycle. It is an artifact of revival and resilience. When the first production units appeared, few could predict how deeply the 961 would test Norton's ambitions. It began as an attempt to honor a legend, yet it evolved into something larger. A meditation on what authenticity means in a world obsessed with advancement. Every decision, from the handcrafted frame to the exposed twin exhausts, was a declaration that craftsmanship still matters. The 961 was never about convenience. It was about connection. That connection turned riders into curators, and rides into rituals. The Norton Commando 961 Cafe Racer reminded everyone that speed can have a conscience. It can respect its heritage while still looking ahead. Its success was not measured in units sold, but in emotions stirred. Riders who owned one spoke of engagement rather than ease, of feel rather than figures. In an era when algorithms promised perfection, the 961 offered imperfection with character. A deliberate, human rhythm that could not be replicated by software. It became an expression of defiance and beauty, proof that engineering excellence can coexist with artistic imperfection. The Norton Commando 961 Cafe Racer did not set out to dominate the market. It set out to inspire it. That inspiration rippled through British motorcycling, proving that even small-scale manufacturers could produce something that resonated globally. Its influence extended beyond performance specifications. It reignited interest in craftsmanship, mechanical honesty, and design purity. It showed that nostalgia could be a foundation for innovation, not a limitation. The legacy of the 961 endures because it captured something universal: the desire to feel, not just to move. Every twist of its throttle reconnected riders with the roots of motorcycling itself. It was a reminder that the bond between rider and machine is not built through complexity, but through clarity. In this sense, the Norton Commando 961 Cafe Racer story is less about a brand and more about belief. It stands for the conviction that progress without passion is hollow, and that craftsmanship without courage is incomplete. As the industry accelerates toward automation and electrification, the 961 remains a counterpoint, a reminder that machines can still have a heartbeat. Its existence challenges future builders to remember why people fall in love with motorcycles in the first place. The Norton Commando 961 Cafe Racer leaves behind a question for every enthusiast. What makes a machine timeless? Perhaps it is not the horsepower or the speed, but the feeling it leaves behind long after the engine cools. This motorcycle proved that legacy is not inherited. It is earned, one ride at a time. Thank you for joining this deep dive into the story of the Norton Commando 961 Cafe Racer. If you enjoyed this exploration of heritage and engineering, remember to like, subscribe, and comment on which iconic machine you want to see next.